On this episode of the Ask Will Show, I tell you how many cold calls I make every single day and how to answer the question, I've just got to go and speak to my husband or wife and confirm the deal. Hi, I'm Will and welcome to episode 9 of the Ask Will Show, the only show where you can ask your sales questions and I will do my bloody best to answer them. So yeah, Monday morning, hope you all had a good weekend. I spent my weekend off with the girlfriend over in Roundhay in Leeds. Nice walk round the, it's a man-made dammed reservoir kind of thing. I don't know if it's actually got a use other than to be pretty and for people to walk the dogs around and all that, but good weekend. And yeah, let's jump straight in with the questions.
Atom the Great asks, how would you overcome the objection, I'll call you back tomorrow with an answer?
So this obviously is a classic sales objection that comes up all the time and needs to be overcome all the time. The way I get around it when I'm selling and doing the podcast sponsorships and that kind of thing, because they are time sensitive. Usually I've got, like now, the podcast is going from today onwards, it's going to be a daily show like this rather than being 3 times a week. So I've just opened up a whole bunch of ad space that I'm going to sell over the next couple of weeks. So to get over to this objection, essentially you just got to set the boundaries. So when you start speaking to the prospect, obviously you build rapport, you do all the usual like shenanigans that salespeople go through. Then you've got to ask them and be very clear, look, are you looking to buy today? Are you the decision maker? Can you buy today? I guess is the first question. And then you dive into that a bit further and you confirm it in their mind. So then if they're thinking, well, maybe I want to come back or maybe I want to go and look at some other places, you've already had that verbal obligation from them that you can close the deal today. And look, not everyone wants to close the deal today. People do want to go, and it's massively cliched, I do want to go and speak to my wife about this purchase, or I do want to do this and that. You've got to allow them, if that's what they want to do, you've got to allow them to do it. If you manipulate them out of doing that, then you're going to have loads of returns, loads of buyer remorse, and they're not going to feel comfortable with buying from you. So yeah, you have to set the precedents and you've got to set what is going to happen and that timeline at the beginning of the conversation if you want to get it closed ASAP.
D Price asks, how would you answer, I have to talk to my husband?
Yeah, so this is essentially the same question as the one we've just answered. So if the prospect needs to speak to their husband, genuinely, it could be that their husband controls the money in the house. And, you know, that's a stereotype obviously, but it could be, and potentially is true. If they are just being polite and want to get away from you, that is also something they will use. So you've got to just use your brain a little bit. I mean, a lot of sales, there's no right or wrong answer to it. And that's why I really enjoy it. I love the psychology of it. I love the, not diversity, that's the wrong word, but the way that you've got to change on the fly your approach. And you've got to be confident that if you are adding really good value to someone and you're saving the money, or look, we're going into all stereotypes here. So if the woman wants to buy a handbag and she needs to ask her husband for permission for it, then you can manipulate the situation and say things like, well, look, that's an expensive pair of shoes. Did you ask your husband before you bought them, for example? Then you're playing on the past and people want to stay true to what they've done in the past. So if someone has bought and spent money without telling the husband in the past, they will want to continue doing that. Even if it gets them in trouble at the end, it's just the psychology behind it. So in answer to your question, if they want to go and ask their husband, you've got to allow them to do it. You've just got to be clear and straight up in your timelines. And look, you just say, well, this, whatever you're going to buy, might not be here tomorrow. This offer that I can give you today won't be there tomorrow. There's the soft selling things like that you can do. But as soon as you start to try and manipulate people because you want the benefit of closing today, then you've kind of got it turned on its head and you got it the wrong way around. It is about the customer and they've got to be happy. Otherwise, again, you're going to get loads of returns, buyer remorse, you're going to hate your job because people are complaining constantly, and yeah, that's not a good position to be in.
R. Rayner asks, how many cold calls do you make a day?
So with the podcast going daily, there's loads more ad space, and so I'm going to be going out and doing some prospecting for new potential ad partners. And obviously we do other stuff other than just the ad. They're on the blog and they get written up and all the other stuff that goes along with that. But kind of going along with your question, how many cold calls do I make a day? I don't really make all that many cold calls, if ever really. I tend to, and obviously this depends on your circumstances and everything else, but to give an example of me, because you guys seem to like me talking about how I go about things personally, I will send an email, a very quick, hi, and Will, I do this, we've got this audience, so we get about 320,000 views on the blog every month. That's going up and up and up. So I mentioned that, I mentioned the podcast. I will soon be mentioning this once this gets a bit more traction. This won't have ads in, I don't think, but perhaps we can mention products, or I can just talk about new partners and all that kind of thing. But that initial email will generate then an email back that says, hey, I'm interested. Then I go that step further and say, look, let's get a call. I don't do any selling over email. I'm very reluctant to communicate with people over email other than getting that phone call in the diary, and then I make that call. So it's a warm call, but it's still essentially a cold sales call. They don't know much about me generally. They don't know much about the product. So it's structured then like a cold call of like a pitch, an intro and a hook and all the usual stuff that you do when you're cold calling. And when I'm going to be on it this week to get some new partners on board, I will probably make, say, 5-6 calls a day for the next week. Out of them, and you've got to know your funnels for all this. Out of them, I'll probably close for an ad deal, probably 1, maybe 2 out of that 5. So by the end of a week of me really going at it, I know I'll have cleared another 3-4 months worth of ad space for the site and the blog and the podcast. So yeah, that's me personally. If you were asking from a slightly different perspective of how many should you be making, it's all about your funnel. You just got to know that. I would just go and nail it for a month, see where you're at, and then either pull things back, and then you can spend more time with your current customers and building rapport with them and building those relationships so they keep coming back to you, which is obviously mega important because no one likes cold calling. I don't care what anyone says, no one likes doing it. So that will reduce your cold calling, but you'll have a number that you need to hit every day to keep that funnel going. Or you'll find that even though you've nailed it and you've worked really hard and you've smashed it, you've been going at it, you still haven't got enough deals coming in which case your cold calling sucks, or there's another barrier to entry here that you're not aware of. And yeah, it might be that you're cold calling when an email to set up like I do might be a better way of going about it. And yes, with that said, that is the end of this episode. So yeah, keep the questions coming in. If you tag on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, so most of these come from Instagram, we seem to be getting way more engagement on there than anywhere else. I think we target the millennial salesperson and the millennial sales manager. And yeah, they're all on Instagram. I don't know, tell me what you guys think. That can be the question of the day. Or what social network do you guys use the most? I imagine it is Instagram, followed by Facebook, followed by the occasional tweet and mess around on Twitter. I don't take it seriously. I don't particularly take LinkedIn seriously at the moment. Perhaps I should do. So yeah, tell me what your most used social network is in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, we'll catch up again tomorrow.